Okay, so today we're going to talk about robber barons versus captains of industry. So I briefly mentioned that with industry um, and all the new inventions, people started making lots of money. And so the business owners who make lots of money were put into two categories, or we categorize them in two different ways nowadays. And those two ways are robber baron or captain of industry. And there are 6 different characteristics for each that you need to write down. But before we get there, we're going to talk about 4 different types of business structures and how businesses work. So the first type of business is a business. That means it's individually owned and operated. So one person or one family owns and operates it, and the boss keeps all the profits. So for example, if I start a pencil selling business, I am the owner, and I operate it, and I make all the money from any pencils that I sell. That is what I do. So I would have a business. In a partnership, there's 2 businesses working together. So imagine I sell pencils and Miss Howell sells erasers, and we decide that we're going to put the eraser on the pencil. Okay? So the both of us are now working together. That is called a partnership. And any profits we make are split between the 2 of us because I had one part of the product and she had the other part of the product. So in a partnership, there's 2 businesses working together and both bosses keep the profit. Now, in a corporation, remember, Miss Howell and I now have our business, our pencil selling business, pencil eraser business. People buy stocks to invest in the company. So imagine you and all your friends gave Miss Howell and I money by buying stock. So you buy stock in our company and become shareholders. We now take that money you invested in us and we spend it and we run our business. And then any profits we make are shared with you, the shareholders, based on how much money you've given in the company. That's a corporation, okay? This is going to come into play. These stocks are going to come into play in the 1900s and 1920s. It's going to be a big deal with the stock market crash. Then you have a trust, which is when corporations join together to create a bigger business. And the shareholders and owners get profits. Typically, with a trust, the person is trying to control each part of their production line. So from the cutting of the wood to the making of the pencil to the molding of the metal that goes on the end of the pencil to putting the eraser in. The person wants to own all of those companies to make more money. Okay, so in the 1900s, there were a lot of people who did this, and these men who made a lot of money, were classified into 2 different categories. The first category is a robber baron. Robber baron is a businessman. He doesn't pay his workers very well, so he pays poor wages. The people who work for him do not make a lot of money. He drives competitors to ruin because he doesn't pay his employees a lot of money. It doesn't cost him a lot to make his product, so he sells his product at a lower cost than what his competitors do, which in turn makes it really difficult for his competitors to make a profit and have a successful business. There's poor working conditions for their workers, so they're expected to work long hours, long days, while not being compensated very fairly. They drain the country of natural resources, so instead of having abundant resources for the country, they've used all the natural resources. They ruin the water, they ruin the land, the trees. They just are trying to get as much money as they can, and they'll do whatever they can to get it. They became wealthy by stealing from the public. So stealing lands, stealing politicians. There's just a lot of backhanded, backroom deals that took place with robber barons. Next, you have the captains of industry. These are businessmen as well, but they create jobs and they expand the market. So they make room for everybody. They increase their productivity, so they paid their workers fairly well, which in turn made them want to work. The big difference between a robber baron and a captain of industry, besides treating their workers fairly decently, is numbers 5 and 6. A captain of industry gives money to charity, so they didn't keep all the profits for themselves. And then they also funded the nation's public institutions. So they gave money to colleges and the such. Um, so like Vanderbilt, Duke, Stanford, all of these captains of industry donated money and then in turn have these um, institutions named after them. Okay, so what you guys are going to do is in your interactive notebook, in the lecture, you have a table like this where it says name, robber baron versus captain of industry, and why. So there's also a list of names. So all of these names, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Morgan, Vanderbilt, Sears, Strauss, Stanford, Hearst, and Mellon. Okay, so you're going to do is you're going to go online and you're going to look up each of these men. And you're going to decide if they are a robber baron or a captain of industry. And then you're going to tell me why. You have to have a why or you do not get credit for this assignment. So the directions are here. So you're going to look up each 20th century industrialist. Using your notes, you're going to determine if they are a robber baron or a captain of industry. And you're going to provide evidence for your answer. So if you say that someone is a captain of industry, your evidence can be like they donated money to charity. Or if it's a robber baron, like they destroyed natural resources. So whatever evidence you have, tie it back to one of the 6 reasons or one of the 6 characteristics of a robber baron or captain of industry. That's all. I will be checking homework Friday. Have a great day.